Thank you, Todd. Okay, it's 3 minutes after 6. Let me call us to order for March 28th budget hearings. Ted, you want to call on the roll?
Julie Quinn.
Here.
Brad Johnson. Here. Danny Deal.
Here.
Layla Ward.
Here.
Todd Smith.
Here.
Aaron Frazier. Thomas Prophet. Here. Dr. Acuff.
Present. So we have a quorum. Next item is to review and approve the agenda. The only thing that I would like to do is to move the volunteer fire departments to the top of the list, along with Butler Fire Department, so they can get out of here quickly in case there is emergencies in their districts. Don't want to hold them here for that long. I had that request earlier today in an email, so I will honor that request. So there's no other changes?
I don't see Butler on here.
Pardon?
Butler's not on here.
We did them. We did them.
We did.
She set them aside because there was nobody here.
Yeah, Butler's not on here, so.
You know, instead of Butler and Boys Club, Girls Club, the only two we have. So far. But, you know, in the two previous.
Carolyn, I talked with Shelley.
She was coming tonight.
Yeah, I know.
I started saying, I thought I saw her a minute ago. Yeah.
Yeah, she said-
Like, I thought I saw her.
Okay. But we have had no communication from Butler Fire Department.
You tried to call them several times and I tried to call them too. So I don't know. We'll just continue to reach out to them. I'm sure there was some sort of confusion or they may have had an emergency that evening.
Okay.
It's true, only the movement of the, I was up doing there, moving the volunteer fire department up to number 1.
Yes, sir. Unless there are any objections from the committee. So we'll move item I, volunteer fire department. Any other additions or disagreements or? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second makes a motion. Did you make the second? Mr. Smith, the second. I just want to remind folks that are going to talk to us. We'll give you 2 minutes. Send out that notification. Obviously, they'll do all questions, but try to hold your comments to the presentation in 2 minutes, and maybe we'll all get out of here. So let's move on through the budget hearing agenda, and we'll start with the volunteer fire departments.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Walsh. I'm here to represent Carter County Fire Association. I'd first like to say we appreciate all the funding that we've got in the past years. It's greatly appreciated. You got your pamphlets. I'll try to answer any questions that you have.
I think your ask this year is $75,000 for each department.
Yes, sir.
You got an increase from over last year.
Yes.
And the reason why I asked, and I'll state this year, all the ARP and all the grants that has been awarded to every one of our fire departments, and then come in on a tight year and ask for additional money.
Well, we did appreciate the ARPA money. We bought very needed equipment with that. You know, it was a godsend to our department for sure. You know, we bought our packs and a lot of equipment that we really needed. We bought I bought 6 hour packs and 12 bottles, and that was $70,000 just for the hour packs. There's no way we could have ever bought that without that. our tax we replaced we bought them in 96. So,
What's the life expectancy on those there?
It depends on the bottle. If it's aluminum bottle, you have to have it static tested so many years. I think it's 7 years. 7 years. Is that correct on the bottles?
420 some.
We have to have tested it for 5 years, and we're good for 20 years.
Okay. So once they're static tested, then, of course, the straps and the hoses and the rubber and all that stuff on it. It's just, it has to be
Last year.
kept up, which how everything is. More modern,
Every time it's
we go lighter.
7, 8, or
The ones we had, they weighed about 40, 60, so.
50, 56. So the reason why I don't want to go ahead and wrap it up, but finish out what I'm saying, is in 1 year, well, I'm gonna say in 15 months, besides the ARP that was shared with the fire department. Second was the grant, communications grant, which completely renews your electronics. So you add all those up, which each department gets, and then raise what your request is for the annual.
I understand that. The funding, both of those fundings, we can't pay our regular bills. It's like our tires on our trucks, regardless of how new they look, just like the tires, they have to be replaced every 10 years. If one hole is in a turnout gear, it's destroyed. We have to throw it away and buy new. The list goes on and on and on to keep up these trucks and the equipment and the buildings. Insurance premiums, they go up just like everything in the modern world we have now.
Additional comments, questions?
Can I make a comment?
Pardon?
Can I make a comment?
If you come to the front, I can hear you.
That's fine. Normally you can hear me. So just real quick, I'm Delissa with Watauga Fire Department, and the communications grant that Mr. Johnson is referring to, that's not a given yet. We're still working on that. The grant has not even been submitted yet. We hope to get that grant, but there's no guarantee that we will get it. We are still working on it. We're in the process of gathering all the information for the First Tennessee Development District, who will write the grant. And then the grant is due sometime the end of April. So that's not been turned in yet. So that's not a given, but we do hope to get that money.
What I'm referring to is not the one that hadn't been given yet. What I'm referring to is the ARP that was given in the communication grant, which was $4.some million.
Right. And
That renews all the girls on.
we hope so.
We know so.
Okay. So, because we're doing this other $400,000 grant through the development district to help with the communications. So we hope so. But that was the grant that I was referring to, so.
Yeah, no, that's still in.
Yeah, that's still being worked on. And that's to help, I guess, take some of the burden off of the county for the radios if we're awarded that 400,000. So, but we are still working on that. Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I do have one question. I'm looking at both the budget and last year's expenditures. And one thing I see that's not broken out, some of them have, some of them haven't, is cost for fuel for the truck. Some of them have broken that out to its own column. Most of them haven't. That's one thing you're all face every day. That cost is up and down. I would just like to see that broken out somewhere for each individual departments that we have that number to go. Okay.
What was the total from last year? What was the total from last year?
67 and they're requesting 75.
67.
What was it? I'm sorry.
It was 67 last year. It's $8,000 increase per department.
Other questions, comments? When our communication officer gets up, I'm sure he'll have a comment on where you are with fire departments, et cetera, in terms of mobile devices.
I was actually going to present that next Monday, but
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I know. But we are doing that.
yes, correct.
Okay. So if there are no additional questions, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Highway Department. Go, Jan. Go for it.
Take it away.
You got the floor, sir.
Yeah, buddy. We have increased a lot of our things, some of our things on there. It's in, all in the paper there, I guess you could say, as far as increase. Asphalt, we had to raise it. Our gravel, salt, stuff like that, we've increased on our vehicles, trying to get some replaced. About got everything replaced, new. We've still got several, it's probably 15-year plus. It's just kind of dogging us to death. You fix one thing on it, and then take it out tomorrow, and it's something else. So, keep quite a bit of equipment we've got, which we swapped out the track hose with the landfill. That's in good shape.
No big equipment buys. No big equipment buys.
We just purchased that new track hose, which we swapped, so we can landfill that one.
See any big equipment buys.
Shouldn't be anything big, I would think, as far as I've got, know of.
I mean, we may have to end up, buying tractors, but we should be able to do that just within our budget. I mean, it's not exchange with what we're asking for. But what we've seen in the vehicles is about a 30% increase in the last, since the COVID pandemic in vehicles, when we've been able to buy vehicles and find vehicles, and about 30% more now than they was in the previous years. And that goes for the equipment also. When we do find something, it's about 30% more than what it has been in the past. And stone, asphalt, all's gone up about 30%. We're anticipating July for it to go again. So that's why we're requesting what we are for the stone and asphalt. Big change. if we're gonna pay, we're gonna have to have some kind of funding to pay, so. It's inevitable, we either pay it or we don't, you know.
Additional questions? Comments?
One thing you could mention real quick, if you don't mind, on this budget, because it is in a different fund, it is highly affected by the revenues. We are working through that process, but we need a little bit more information. So if the revenues come in lower than we anticipate, or higher than we anticipate, for that matter of fact, then we will need to go in and tweak some items. But we've already discussed what those items could potentially be based on how those dollars swing. But we did not present the revenue side of this for that reason. We need a little bit more information, and we need to also see where the fuel tax and some of those items that are coming in. I mean, we've got it at the halfway mark, but we really need another month or two. So as we continue through the budget process, and I work through the revenues for the county, which they will also get a piece of, and I'm at a point where I can do the 5-year average, like we did last year, I'll have to go in and tweak things a little bit. So at that point, then we'll come back and say, these are the adjustments that need to be made. I did make sure that we meet the maintenance of effort on the payroll side of it. So that is all taken care of in here, and that won't change, because regardless of what the revenue is, we cannot take payroll dollars away.
Any other questions? For Superintendent? We're not satisfied at this point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next, communications budget.
Basically, our budget is, for the most part, it's pretty much the same. There are some items in here that I actually cut. We did have a cut in the last line item there. It's listed under other equipment. That's equipment for ARP funds for the radio system. Once we get that up and running, if there's a piece of equipment here or there that I need to pick up, I would like to keep that in my budget. I haven't spent it yet, and I'm holding it until we do get the system running, so we can try and get that thing going. I did ask for an increase in the maintenance and repair service, basically to cover existing radio repairs. We've got a lot of radios out there right now that are broken. Some of them just need minor parts, but we can get them fixed for a couple $100 instead of buying a brand new radio. So I'd like to get some of those sent out, and I'd like to get that in the existing radio repairs. So I had asked for a small increase there. And along with that, and my test equipment needs to be calibrated every 12 months, and I need to ship it out to have it done. So I had 0 postage, and I asked for $500, which should cover the existing radio repairs plus my test equipment to ship out. Of course, insurance and vehicle and equipment insurances and all those, there was an estimated increase on those as well. And one more was the in-service and staff development. Motorola will be doing training with the new system once we get it up and running, but there's going to be some specialized training that we're going to need to do in certain cases. And I want to put a little bit more in the budget so I can cover that if I need to over the course of the next year.
Questions, comments? There are no others. Thank you, sir. Next, we'll go to the Senior Citizen Center.
Hi, my name is Brittany Shell. I'm the director of the Elizabethton Senior Center. We've been in the community, serving the Carter County community for over 50 years. I want to thank the commission for the monetary support that we've received throughout the decades. This has allowed us to provide vital services and programs to our seniors here in the Carter County community. We are asking you for $26,500. This is the same amount we requested is for the past several years. Even though our budget has increased quite a bit due to the demand, the cost increases of supplies, and our utilities have went up astronomically. This fiscal year, I'm also responsible for raising 23% of my own budget, and that's through fundraising, grants, donations, and that's a pretty big portion of the budget I'm now responsible for raising due to a lot of the increases. So I understand a tight budget. The funding that our center receives from the county is not merely a monetary transaction. It is a lifeline that enables us to provide invaluable services to our seniors. Your funding goes directly to our operational costs, which is our utilities, supplies, some of our salaries. My staff and I, there's 3 paid staff. We all work without health benefits. I don't know if I've ever told you guys that. We're lucky enough to have husbands with okay benefits. I took a job. When I took this job, I lost some really good health benefits, but it's worth it for the work that we do. So your costs, your funding goes directly to our operational expenses. The impact of losing the funding would create a ripple effect into our community. For decades, the Senior Center has served as a hub of a wide array of services, programming, and resource connection. One of the first programs that would be directly impacted is our most vital, our Meals on Wheels program. And I actually have a contract with First Tennessee Human Resource Agency, and we've had that contract for decades. And what we do is we house the nutrition coordinator, and my responsibility to fulfill that part of that contract is to pay for their utilities, the equipment such as the stove, the refrigerators. We pay for their phone, their internet, and then they place that nutrition coordinator at our site. We have about 500 meals that go out into the community with the help of that nutrition coordinator, our staff, dozens of volunteers that we are dependent on to deliver those meals. Annually, we send about 26,000 meals into the community. And I'm so proud of our center because during COVID, we didn't even stop delivering those meals. Even when our center shut down, we were in there making sure those hot meals went out. And I'll tell you personally that sometimes those volunteers might be the only face that that person sees. You know, so if we were to lose our Meals on Wheels or it were to be affected, I mean, you would start seeing people dead in their homes for days. So it is a vital service. It's a lifeline to the most vulnerable parts of our community. And that's a pretty big one that I don't think I've ever talked about when I've got up here is the importance of that coming out of our center. The second contractual agreement I have is with the First Tennessee Area Agency on Aging. And we partner with them for an options counselor. So their position is grant funded. And I am contracted with the AAAD. So to avoid saying the big long spiel, I'm contracted with them to have that social worker go out into the community and assess for Meals on Wheels. They have a respite program that they assist caregivers with. They also have just a caregiving program for people that might need like housekeeping or help with bathing. And that social worker is right there, is Rebecca. Rebecca is housed in my center, so I'm really proud of the work that Rebecca does every day and the seniors that she sees and that she helps. And she also works with providing resources. So if she goes into a home and she sees there's, they're blind, they need help with some blind services, she does that resource connection in the home with them, and it's a really beautiful thing. So if we were to not get funding, those programs would be immediately impacted. And I would not be able to fulfill my end of those contracts. And those have worked together in smooth operation like a quick-oiled machine for decades, making sure those services are going out. So in order to keep our cost efficient, because we operate, we're a nonprofit that does everything we do operate on a small budget. The centers relied on partnerships for programming, and the partnerships I just mentioned to you for those other programs within our center. We do that to serve seniors and those who are disabled within our communities. And I want to say that I remember Dr. Acuff, you said you wanted us to show that we had skin in the game. And that spoke to me because I usually have very limited time to say everything I want to say, but I will say that one of the reasons I took this position is because I interned as an options counselor when I was in school, and I saw very much that the center has always had skin in the game. And so I wanted that position when I talked with the previous director, because I bought into what they do and I believe in it because I've seen it work. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. I want to emphasize that I have applied for my sixth grant. I just applied for a creative aging grant so we could have like a storytelling program at the center. But I recently got an $8,000 grant from the Commission on Aging. That is the only grant that I can get that I can use on operational expenses. Most of them have to be used very specifically. I never say no to it ever, but I can't use that funding towards my operational costs a lot of the time. But I do apply for grants every chance I get. I wasn't a super experienced grant writer, but I'm learning and I'm not going to give up. It's very time consuming, but it's worth it at the end of the day. So I do want to let you all know that we do that. We do it a lot. I also I thought about what you all get out of it as the county. And I gave that a lot of thought because I'm trying to see things from your perspective. And I think that I want to emphasize that I think the benefits, the significant financial benefits that we offer, that we bring to the county, is that we offer a wide array of services and programs to our seniors at a fraction of the cost that it would take you all to provide them directly. And it minimizes the strain on you all because we offer so much to our community, and we really make our community a robust entity. I meet people every day from Massachusetts or, California or New York, and they're coming here and they're looking for a place like our senior center. They want to feel a part of a community with seniors. So we are a huge increasing retirement community. So we're bringing a lot to the table because we have people of all backgrounds that attend the center every day. People who are high income, people who come in 5 days a week because they live in poverty and they need that hot meal. So I work with a variety of people, but I think the community is growing, and I think we'll continue to give you'll reap the dividends of what you're giving us just from everything we're doing. And I really do believe in that. And I would like to conclude by saying thank you again for the support that you've given us through the decades. As always, you are welcome at the center. I want you all to see where your dollars are going. I understand that's important to you, so you're all welcome there. Come during a bingo day. It's crazy, but join a route, join a volunteer on a route, meet people in their homes and see what some people are living in, the conditions that they're living in, and how important it is that we meet those needs. And not just for seniors, but those programs extend to people who are wheelchair bound, things like that. So join a route or come by and have lunch with one of our seniors. A lot of the people that come in for those meals, they live alone, they're a widower. We have a lot of widowers that come in and they want a hot meal. And they come there, and it would be interesting to hear their story and to have lunch with them, so I invite you all to do that anytime. All right, thanks for your time, and I'll take questions.
Applaud you for trying to write grants. To see that you've done one with the Private United Way AA.
I did the pitch. That was so awful because I hate public speaking, but it was worth it. I learned a lot from doing that. Yeah.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you for the effort that you're putting into this.
I appreciate that very much.
Questions for Chris? Thank you, ma'am. Okay, next up is Assistance and Resource Ministries on. Did we receive anything from them? Did they had a conflict or? Okay.
Got it. We can put that on the side or?
Yeah, let's put it on the side. Tennessee Rehabilitation Center's up next.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chuck Hamilton. I'm with the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center. For those who don't know, our program helps individuals with disabilities find and maintain employment. And we do this in various ways. We help with driver's license training. We help with transportation assistance. We help do this with soft skills training, things like resumes, job applications. We speak to businesses on behalf of these people that need that assistance. So places your funding is going to buy interview clothing. It assists with sending them to school. They need to go to school in order to get a job. We help pay for books, help pay for steel-toe boots, barber equipment, whatever our customers need to go to work. We're even now partnering with TN Agribility. We're able to help buy and get farm equipment for farmers with disabilities. And we have had an increase in successful job closures. We increased from 7 to 14 for Carter County, and those 14 are bringing in nearly $300,000 in taxable revenue. So yeah, and of course, the funding, it does go towards the staff. We are a state entity, but we're not a state. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know. I don't understand it, but we are funded by our local community and federal government. Your local funds help bring down money. Questions?
You break down and looking at counties that you all serve, and you share on your statement of revenue and expenditures, about how many folks in Carter County versus those, let's say, in Sullivan or Unicorn?
How many we serve altogether? I don't know the exact numbers, but each of our counselors has caseloads of at least 100 to 200 people. And that's probably from each county. We have counselors that serve Washington County. We have ones that serve Hartland, and those that serve Sullivan County. And each one of them probably has a caseload of at least 100 to 200 people. And that changes each year, next year we could have, 1,000 people from Carter County and, 10 from Sullivan County. And then sometimes it evens out.
So I guess one of the other things that leads me to ask, obviously, if you look at the city of Elizabeth and Carter County, we're at about a little over 48,000 that we contribute to the revenue side. But counties like Washington and Sullivan certainly are much larger than we are. That's only like 28. Can you explain that discrepancy to me?
Honestly, the numbers are used by our fiscal department. Our director actually kind of had words with him this year, and they can actually explain to her why they were having us to ask why we're at for what we're asking for. So I wish I could tell you, but the numbers that we asked for, like the 27,000, that's the numbers that we've asked for since before I even took this position. I don't make the decision on increasing or decreasing the amount. It goes to our director. Fiscal is in charge of increasing or decreasing the budget.
Questions? Anybody else? I've done. So, anybody else?
I mean, I agree. We're at what Sullivan and Washington County combined. It's not that all. It is a little odd.
I think they're only thinking is, they want us to ask more from the county that we're housed in, because we're housed in the Carter County. I wish I could tell you more, but fiscal can't even explain it coherently to our director, so I don't. We've asked that. I've asked that. All of our coordinators and our other counties and stuff have asked that. Why are we asking for these numbers? Our directors asked, and fiscals just like they do a bunch of fancy math or something, but they don't actually explain why.
Yes. Comment? Sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Boys and Girls Club.
Shelley.
I want to start off by just handing this out to show you what your funding helped us improve last year, programmatically and operational wise. It's just good for you to see some of the improvements that we made thanks to the county's support. I also want to thank you all for having us, for supporting the club over the decades. The club to me is an essential part of the county. These young people who leave the club the kids in our county are our only future. And the club is supporting those great futures. We're doing a lot of the hard work. Your funding has supported this past year. We doubled in size for our teen program, so more and more adolescents are attending our club at ages 13 to 17. I think I'm going to focus on the teen program just a little bit because your support in that way is, I think, an immediate impact on the county. These are kids who are going to be graduating. These are kids who are entering our workforce. These are the young people who have the highest risk for getting involved in at-risk behaviors. And the club, and we teach workforce readiness. We have a program called Diploma to Degrees. We teach healthy habits. And those programs indirectly, we also partner with Carter County Drug Prevention every week they come in and they talk to our kids about what's going on in the county or what's going on in other areas. We're trying to attack the opioid epidemic that we've been a big part of, making sure that our young people understand the dangers and how important it is for them to say no. So even though they may have family or parents who were a victim of that, they don't become victims themselves, and it's not generational. So I'm really proud of the work that our teen program's doing because it's promoting education, it's promoting saying no to substances, and it's also, we have a workforce readiness program which helps them get ready for the workforce, become employed, gainfully employed, and their very first stop is we employ them for the summer at the club. So they're getting the experience right away at the club, they're getting a paycheck that comes from the club, and they're learning a lot about how to stay employed. It's not just gaining employment, but it's also being able to maintain it. So I just focused for a moment on our adolescent program because to me, it's very important. And the teen room expansion also added independent life skills. So we added a full kitchen. We were able to add a whole homework and academic area, as well as an area for them to just be hanging out together. It's a safe place for them. We do lights on programming where they come on a Friday night so they can hang out in the club just as teens, and it's a very safe place for them to be in our community and have a lot of fun. The other program that we added this past year, thanks to your support, that I'm very proud of is our social and emotional learning program. So we added a mental health component. We were finding that a lot of our children, especially post-pandemic, and I know we hear that a lot, but we're actually really seeing it a lot. And so we added this program so that we could support the emotional and the social needs of all of our kids. You'd be amazed at how many 7 and 8 year olds are suffering from anxiety, or they're suffering from just emotional distraught, the pressure or stresses, or there's something going on in their home that they don't know how to respond to. And I mentioned here that the SEL counselor, which is a new employee for us, a part-time employee. She runs groups and she does individual counseling with families and the kids. But one of my favorite groups is our Banana Splits group. And it directly works with children who are going through divorce or parent separation. So they understand that they're not alone, they're not isolated, but there's actually a support group for them and they can feel like they belong and can get through this really difficult time. It also does a lot of training with our staff, so we can do a lot of positive reinforcement and some strong behavioral management pieces and components. And then we built a sensory room. And the sensory room is designed for, we have an increase of ADHD and we have an increase of children that are on the spectrum. So we wanted to be able to meet their needs so they could be successful in the club and in this environment. Because we felt like it was really important that if they're going to come, and it's easy to get overstimulated without any other factors involved, that we had a place for them to go and self-regulate and then be able to join back into their group or whatever it is they were doing. So I'm really proud of that program. The outcomes from that program have been substantial. I think we're seeing increase in positive behaviors and a decrease in negative behaviors. We also certified one of our current employees as an art practitioner. So we added an art therapy type of element to that program because children do learn to express themselves through creativeness and through art. And art doesn't just include art, but it also includes music. We have a club choir. So we wanted to expand our programming so that all kids feel welcomed and that they can find something that they can connect to that will help them feel successful and they'll carry on. That's just what we did last year. The other pieces that I wanted to share with you that I think benefit the county. Approximately 62% plus of the kids that come to the club are from the county. And during the summer, that number increases about 27%. The increase is because the farther rural reaching parts of the county, because we're certified by the Department of Education during the after school program, the bus ride from Little Milligan and Cloudland is too long by their guidelines, by their requirements. The bus ride's too long for a child to be on a bus. But during the summer, we just have parent drop off. We don't run buses after school and pick up from the schools. So during the summer, that number increases substantially because those children do come to our summer program, which is an 11-hour-a-day program. After school, we do pick up from 14 different schools, and we bring those children to our club. So our buses become a very vital and essential part of what we do. They're aging, so part of your funding supports not only just the increase in diesel fuel, but also the maintenance that we have to provide those buses because they're so essential. Can't get kids to the club. It doesn't really make sense for me to open our doors. It's just going to be, they're just critical. This past year, we received funding from FEMA. One of the goals for the club is to become one of the safest buildings in the county. We'd like to serve the county and work in many capacities. If we needed to be a shelter, if we needed to be something that was a safe place for any other reason, but that we've put in a state-of-the-art camera system. We are putting in ballistic glass, magnetic locks, a key card system that is connected to the sheriff and the city police officers. So on their own key card, our system now is connected, so they only swipe their key card to get in if they needed to get into our club for any reason. We also are improving our fence lines so that it's an easy escape route in the event that there ever is an intruder. So I'm very proud of the safety initiative that we took this past year, and you helped support that. We've also written a number of other grants, and about 48% of our funding comes from grants. I am a certified grant writer, so it is something that I do on a daily basis. I think it's, while I don't want to be so grant heavy, it's just how it has to be for us to operate in the way that we do. Last year, we served over 11,000 meals and 7,000 snacks. So when our kids come to the after-school program, they get a snack every day and they get a hot meal that we cook on site. I have 2 cooks who cook a hot meal that has to meet the USDA and the state certification requirements for nutrition and for health balance. So they get a grain, a protein, a vegetable, and a fruit every day, and a dairy. And then in the summer, we serve breakfast, lunch, and a snack. So I'm very proud of our food program. We also are an open food site. So anyone who needed to come and receive a meal or food can come to the club, and they are more than welcome. We will certainly send them away, or they can eat on site. But we will definitely make sure that they have food. I feel like I'm missing things, but I think the most important part for me is that we're also, as part of the essential part of the county, is we have shown that we've decreased those at-risk behaviors, like I mentioned, but also those at-risk behaviors include, juvenile justice system, increase in dropout rate. A new program we added last year that we're continuing this year is that we followed all of our new 9th graders all the way through 9th grade. So as they transitioned from 8th grade to 9th grade, we followed them all the way through 9th grade with their families to ensure that they were doing well. 9th grade nationwide, and particularly in the state of Tennessee, is the highest grade for dropout. So we wanted to ensure that we were preventing that as much as we could with our members, but also our teens in the county. All of my staff are certified gatekeepers to suicide prevention. So they've all been trained in preventing, being aware, having awareness, knowing the signs that we may have a child in crisis. And so they are gatekeepers to suicide prevention. They're also certified in trauma-informed care. So we're able to just as a variety, I wanted you to see the variety of services that we offer outside of our sports, outside of our physical fitness, outside of our games room, outside of the fun that we also provide our children. There is a lot more substance to the club, and it is so essential to this community because it allows me to say that nobody in the county does what we're doing at the capacity that we do it and with the variety of programming that we provide. On average, And when I say average, our average daily attendance is around 130 kids a day. In the summer, that number goes up to close to 175. Last year, we served 465 kids as a total. So I'm very proud of the work that we're doing. We couldn't do it without the county support. It would affect and impact us greatly. Last year, when you all gave us that little scare, we scrambled really fast to see how we would be able to fill the hole. And it was gonna take a lot more work than I anticipated as the CEO. And I'm very grateful that it worked out because it allowed us to continue doing what we're doing exactly as we're doing it. And that to me is very important.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you all very much.
Questions for Shelley? Program manager or Mr. Dunn?
I have one. The Boys and Girls Club fundraiser that, through Taco Bell, does that go into just a general fund for everyone, or is that split up by county?
So Taco Bell is a grant, and we
Okay.
have to apply for that grant, which I do, and
In order to receive
specifically, it does help us fund operations, but we have specifically written it for a particular part of operations. So it doesn't just go across the entire budget, it has to actually go into that revenue pocket. But yes, it is yep.
Others? Well, thank you for your efforts on the.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
So, next up, Keith Carter, County. I'll take a.
Good evening. My name is Don Lavity. Most of you have heard from me in the past. I am the current chairman of Perry County Beautiful. Our organization has existed in Perry County now for 9 years. In that 9 years, we've provided a significant amount of services to the county. We are a 501c3 federal nonprofit. We are also a Tennessee nonprofit. Every person that volunteers is just that, a volunteer. No one in our organization, nobody at our events gets a dime. We appreciate and thank you for the funding of $5,000 last year. We're requesting the same amount this year. Last year, I told you the ROI. This year, we're approximately 5 to 1. So the $5,000 that you might provide us for funding will result in $25,000 of labor volunteer activities. Some of the money you gave us last year, some of the funding you gave us last year has gone for Roan Mountain. There's a trout trash trap out there, taking a ton of trash and recycled bottles and things out of the waterway. We worked with Will Miller at Stormwater Management from Carter County, and out there cleaned out that trout trash trap, refloated it. We also worked with a partner with Over Mountain Trouts Unlimited. We have a partnership with them on a trout trash trap in the Watauga River over here. We secured permission from the county to use one of the many wayfinding signs. We provided an informational sign for them, and that'll be erected this May, telling the public what that contraption in the river they see is and what it's doing, and the amount of tonnage of materials that are being taken out of the water. We also worked with Stormwater Management to provide volunteers at Blue Hole. We cleaned up over 7 dump sites along the road there at Blue Hole. We just had our February Watauga Lake cleanup. Hard to say, we were able to collect almost 4,500 pounds out of Watauga Lake: tires, washing machine, a stove, televisions. But that's stuff that if we weren't doing it would remain there until it breaks down into pollutants and microplastics. We've also had already this calendar year, Million Highway cleanup. We are a Adopt a Highway program. So we do work with TDOT, and we have a section of Million Highway that 4 or 5 times a year, we keep it clean. We're getting 16 to 20 bags of 39-gallon bags of trash off of Million Highway. And the Tweetsie extension, we've already had a cleanup this year. I was sorry and disappointed when I went out there I've been here 7 years. I went out to the tunnel on the Tweetsie, Valley Forge in Hampton. I was really shocked to find the amount of dumping going off the edge of Highway 19 down toward the Tweetsie extension. 3 volunteers showed up for that one. It was a pop-up cleanup, we like to call them. We were just calling a couple of people, saying, hey, can you come out? We collected over 10 bags of trash in a half mile and spent 3 hours doing it. We're not just about trash though. We provide beautification programs. We are currently going to redo our wildflower plots. When you say wildflower plots, big deal. We provide houses for pollinators. Without the pollinators, we're all going to have a food problem. They also provide a service to the community by creating an area that does not have to be maintained. If you're running lawnmowers over an acre of property, yes, it's labor maintenance. We found that making wildflower plots, that in fact, they no longer have to cut that area of grass. There's no maintenance to it. It services the pollinators, the birds, and parks and wildlife. So we're trying to save, we're working with Rome Mountain this year to try to extend that program to the Eric Anderson Park in Rome Mountain. We also plant trees. We'd like to extend our tree program, but we're finding it's a very expensive program. You've got to get trees somewhere. If we plant saplings, there's a pretty bad die-off rate on the saplings. So we try to get mature trees, and the more mature the tree is, the more expensive it is. I hope to work with the new leadership of the highway department to try to get some of these remaining finding signs out of the facility up there and get them on the roads and installed. We've installed a dozen or so in the last year or two. We'd like to get the rest of them out there too. One of them, one day you might come into the courthouse here and you'll find a nice wayfinding sign out here. We've got one for the courthouse that hasn't been installed yet. Schools, we educate. We go to schools, we have presentations. We have presentations online. This year already, we've worked with Elizabeth High School. We provide them with wildflower seeds and packaging. Their AP environmental program designs the labels and the installation instructions. They package these, they return them to us. We have 750 of these. We hand out to the community at Northeast Community Credit Union business spotlights. We encourage every school and every person that comes to an information booth, take some of these. If you've got a bare spot, plant them. They're beautiful when they come up. We also provide educational materials for elementary school kids. It's silly, it looks like a coloring book. It is a coloring book, but everything in here is about recycling. Recycling is near and dear to my heart. I know it's controversial with a lot of people, but I find without recycling, you're picking up 10 times as much trash as we're picking up. We also partner with the elementary school art program. Provide us with art for our sustainable snapshots. Each piece of art that the kids produce is on our website. We rotate them every month so the kids and the parents and the community can see what our elementary school kids are producing and what they're learning about sustainability. I've turned it into a calendar. We're talking right now about if we can afford it to get some of these printed up and at least supply them back to the schools. That's about it. Just want to let you know too, we work very well with Chris Schuler. And we just had a dumpster provided for the Watauga Lake cleanup. Take that dumpster out there and put the dumpster in place. Allow us to take all that trash and put it in. It's an expense and beyond the funding that you give us. And we appreciate that. We told Chris about it. He was actually at that time, he was having problems because he had his truck broken down. And yet he still managed to get us a dumpster. Will Miller at Stormwater Management, he's got several cleanups this year he wants to do. We're hoping to partner with him on all of them. Probably won't be able to do that. Yeah. Any questions at all? Again, I would point to that ROI. You can't get $25,000 worth of labor for spending $5,000 most people.
Have y'all, I know you're partnering with Elizabeth at high school for packaging the seeds. Have y'all talked at all with UT Extension or their 4-H component?
We have not. We wanted to first expand into the county high schools and elementary schools. We have a volunteer that moved into our area just a year ago, and they've already started working with UNEGA. We're having the high school kids spend their community service hours helping clean their own schools. They had a cleanup after a football game or two out there, and half a dozen kids showed up, show their commitment. So we're trying to expand into county schools and elementary schools and high schools before we go out somewhere else. But we'd love to educate as many people as we can. I've mentioned to the full commission several times, please keep in mind that the hardest part of this job for the county and for us is enforcement. We're having trouble stopping this. We can clean up, and clean up, and clean up, but we're working very well with Sheriff Riley, Chief Shaw, Elizabeth, and we're all banging our heads together to try to figure out how do we stop some of this stuff. Just this morning, I reported a couch, a mattress, and several other objects dumped on the highway, right in the middle of the busy highway. People around all the time. I don't know where it comes from. It seems like it floats in from the ether or something.
They haul it in the back of their trucks, and if it just happens to fly off, it's like, whoops, sorry.
Yes, I didn't mention that. I was actually going to contact me, or would be again. 2 years ago, we had a tarp giveaway. We've applied for 8 grants this year. Unfortunately, what we're finding to be true, we are an affiliate of Keep Tennessee Beautiful, and we get national attention because we're an affiliate with Keep America Beautiful. We applied for a grant to get 200 tarps. 2 years ago, there would be Chief Shaw, at the time Sheriff Lunsford, and an ex-commissioner, Ross Garland, all attended out there. And anybody that came into the landfill without a covered load, which is a $500 fine, instead of a $500 fine, we gave them a tarp and a little bit of information and talking to. It's been, like I said, 2 years ago. So this year, we're hoping to get that grant. We're going to be handing out tarps again.
Thank you for all y'all do. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's take 10. We'll finish up with our last 3. The other side. Julie becomes so large, you need a chance to move.
These 3 times a little while ago. I sleep all day long.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Rehabilitation state law, which is. That's equal to the city. Because there's Sullivan, Washington County, everybody involved. And it takes that, which is between. You need Wars Club. The large numbers and important. And keep Carter County busy. And then we're asking for it.
Let's see.
How low do they are? Yeah, I know.
If they could get paid.
Rehab is asking for 27.
I taught some Sunday school classes. Class sponsoring the area of religions. You got stuff there every month or something. Single day.
I'm gonna have to keep up.
Man, I tell you, that's
2 days after they clean it up.
it's a mess.
You'd never thought.
Senior Center.
It's a good thing he didn't stop these.
You spotted my beautiful hat. I just.
Everything I've ever bought with.
Arm.
I see you made it another 2 days of retirement.
I think I've already got the answer for this one, KCCB 5,000.
Listen, I'm on
Man, I'm gonna take that whole Christmas. Give me my time.
Okay. It's not included.
It's not including what?
Just telling you.
Really?
All right.
Of course, my situation's like,
15,000.
I was forced. And I was down for 2 years with it. So,
Oh, by the way, he talked to you about, you can get a hold of, Brandon Young. I did get a hold of him.
You did?
We're gonna meet tomorrow.
Got his contact.
Yeah, we've already talked about it. Matter of fact, we're gonna do 2 stories on him. When I'm homeless. Yeah, they're gonna do it all.
It would be funny. Right, I mean.
Principal,
Except that it's not.
pastor.
That's what.
This guy's got some energy.
I'm on.
I'll do a short story.
I think it would be good.
To do things I enjoy.
I'm sure that ladies.
I knew time was gonna come with me. Tell everybody, I feel like if I could roll my own wheelchair around by the time I was 50.
Oh, we got another one too. He told me his assistant started ministry with North Carolina. 2 times a month. He's Bruce Pine.
That's what you guess let's get forward.
Yeah, I thought we were just probably had.
You gotta cut your eyes.
Well, like I was telling you, yeah, really. My problem now is,
That's,
and I don't mind doing it, but I have the central trend. Really, my hands up to the eyes. That it does.
Watching you. Big deal, that's private.
I am.
So the way I see it, if I get it turned on once, I'm afraid to keep
Right now.
So that.
Yeah.
Twisted club, get you off, please, then go sit down.
Before the boys and the girls separated when I was in 6th grade, I did try that.
She's a level, I mean, she could put it in a bucket.
give it to them. You get some info.
Yeah.
You like that? 25 feet.
Streams, I
You
just.
better hope that you don't know you every time.
Gotta have a little bit.
Like one of them lizards. Got them lizards that's been, oh, venom, yeah.
Everything's gonna be good.
The communication, I think, keeps festering. I think, you guys ever consider greed? I mean, where would they be? 18 months of ventures. Various grants and all. Federal money and everything.
No, they usually
It's
don't.
planning for each one of them. We got a duplicate in the communication thing. Just how that, you could use it for either or.
No, I've always said just that, and then it's so hard to get it.
Right.
Just, it takes another 5 minutes to get right back on.
No process. That's the question. I'm trying to say this little, it's better you than us. But for the county, everything crashes.
Spring break this week in Colville.
Your cities can't charge you this much.
Are we still taking cars up there?
Well,
This
will be a.
Oh, that's not seen.
Every year now is an operation.
That's not what we like to do. The other thing is spay and neuter.
Outright.
We're putting into animal shelters for that same thing. Duplicated, but it's for a low, below minority whatsoever.
She's on TV every day. She knows how to do it.
Level of expenditure may necessary when it comes down to that bottom line. You have to look at it, okay, because that's above, they were created. They can keep moving above and beyond.
You're gonna have to. Believe me. Believe me, I definitely.
We have given, he's,
I think that's the stuff I think it is. I mean, that's getting into.
How much money they raised? Look at the bottom line, how much money they actually raised and signed. One of them's got a 40 grand.
What they need, but they receive ARP funds, what they receive, radio give, grants.
Well, right now, if you took what we got just in communication here, from the ARP, and wants to get ready to come down on the fold, what the individual cost that is actually active in the fire department. I mean, it's astronomical. I mean, they ain't gonna be able to get a hold of a hose nozzle because they got all the electronic gear on and they can't move. I mean, is there anybody left to fight the fire? I mean, you know.
Do throw radios in.
75, yeah, so.
all right, let's finish.
I can't believe we got on this.
Broke down a mow yesterday, Thomas. I broke down a mow my yard yesterday.
Wow.
That'd been my third time I'm mowing. Really?
Thinking how many nights.
Have a choice. From my living room, bathroom, I couldn't find him in the yard.
I tell you, buddy, I've been on it a week and I like this train pretty good.
Yeah, the time's coming.
Last weekend for you.
See, let's, come back here. Next folks up are soil conservation. All right, Mom.
Easy. How y'all tonight? Did you all get one of our copy of our annual report? I kind of just want to go over that with you a little bit tonight. It tells you who we are, what we do. Board of Supervisors at the Carter County Soil and Water Conservation District. We're a division of the state of Tennessee's Department of Agriculture. Also, we work with the USDA's Natural Resource and Conservation Service. Our local unit here was chartered in 1959, so we've been here a while. We work with farmers and we work with landowners, not just farmers, but producers and landowners. Our agreement is that the USDA provides our office space, which is at 256 Highway 91, beside Kimbo's. I know everybody knows where Kimbo's is at. Eat breakfast there a lot ourselves, but our office is in Suite B there. We're open from 8 o'clock to 4:30 every day, and Monday through Thursday, we're open from 7 to 5. We have 5 board members who are appointed by the state of Tennessee Department of Agriculture. 3 are elected by the peers here in our county. We have 3, right now we only have 2 federal employees, Robbie Miles and Caitlin Fox. They are members of the NRCS. We share them with Sullivan County. Several years ago, they combined Carter and Sullivan County. We always have them available with just a phone call, but most days, at least one of them or one of their staff is here in our office. Our office is what we ask you to help support. The USDA pays for all of our office space, our furniture, all the IT stuff, all the engineering and things that we do. But we ask you all to help us with Carter County Soil and Water Conservation employees. We have 2. We have an office manager and we also have a district technician. And I think the agreement in the past, when this was all set up, was that they provide the office space, they provide the technical expertise, the equipment and all about it, but we provide them with people to answer the phone and work with the local people as an intermediary. And that's what our staff does. And that's the reason we're asking you for the same that we've asked for the last several years, $44,000. Majority of this money goes to salaries that's going to be spent right here in our county. And then if you look on the other side of your handout thing they gave you, it tells about some of the things that we do. We offer cost share assistance to the producers and landowners in Carter County. And they can apply for this. They have to be rated, they have to be meeting certain guidelines, but some of these cost shares pay as much as 90% of what's going to be provided, the services that's going to be provided. We do a lot of water systems, erosion control, anything our office has to do with erosion control, water quality. That's the 2 biggies, okay? But we put in water systems on these farms to keep the cattle from having to walk so far or make terrible messes at just one spot. We've been doing a lot of stream bank stabilization. Commissioner Johnson, we just finished a job over in the Central community, beside Central Elementary School that I'm sure you've driven by and seen. It was for one farm owners there. It was for the stream bank stabilization. We worked with your highway department in years past. Whenever you have emergency situations, like the big floods that we had back in the 90s, the one we've had up in Browns Branch, isn't that right, Jonathan? We worked to provide funding for the property owners to help them reclaim their property or overcome the problems that they had. This is available. If there isn't an emergency situation, Shannon or Jonathan, they contact our office and we sit down and we work out what we can and what we can't do. I think that we have provided or already obligated a little over 7 figures for projects in this county. Some of these projects last 3 years, and some of them are being completed now. We have several big barns, if you want to call feeding barns, that are probably $500,000 barns. that we're helping with a good part of the funding. Especially if you're a first-time farmer or a young farmer or a veteran, or there's some other things that fit in the category. That makes you get up to the 90% help. You get 90% of the cost share. And some of these things are pretty expensive, especially the stream bank stabilization projects. They're very expensive, and we've had a lot of success in doing them. We also have this year $125,000 that was we requested the funding or the grant from the, if you want to call it a grant, it's cost share with the state of Tennessee. We try to work with all of our FFA, 4-H. We help with soil judging. When Rusty Barnett and Dexter Lunsford were selected, we had that particular year, we had soil judging on my farm on Stony Creek. And they came, they wanted to meet some of the people. We had probably 200 kids there that day. They stood around and watched, and they come over and they said, Mike, what? We don't understand. I thought, gosh, what are we doing wrong? They said, we've never seen a group of kids of this size. So they don't talk, they do exactly what you're told. I said, what's the deal? I said, well, that's what the teachers require of them. But we try to work to provide positive things with all the high schools, with the 4-H. We also work with all of our sister agencies, the Cattlemen Association, the UT Extension, and all the other agriculture-related entities. That's kind of what we do. I mean, I'm sure you all got questions. I don't know if I can answer, but I'll sure try. We invite you to come by our office. Bob's been there. But we invite you to come by. Any questions? I've either done a good job or a bad one, Bob. I don't know which.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I thank y'all. Thank you for your help in the past. We look forward to working with you again. Does anybody need a copy of the report? We all got lost. I've got 2 or 3. Y'all got one? Okay. Good deal. That tells me about everything about us. Thank y'all.
Okay, Election Commission next. I guess, Carolyn, you're presenting that. I don't see Tracy in the courtroom.
Not a lot of change. Did you say something about Tracy?
Yeah, I said I didn't see her in the courtroom.
No,
I was assuming that you're presenting.
Yeah, no, I'm going to present hers. Really not a lot of changes. There were, of course, the insurance, which has been the case with everyone's. Her salary difference is because of the state increase. She did have a little bit of an increase in maintenance agreements, and that's due to the new voting machines that they have. So that was a requirement. And that's pretty much the majority of everything that's in there.
Free machines ain't free.
What?
Free machines ain't free.
Oh.
And they're not that great either. Round Mountain had all the issues with them. Oh my gosh, yes, yes. Where it was cold in there, machines would not come on.
I worked the one up at Stony Creek, and it was actually, they went good, other than a few, if you didn't push the button exactly hard enough, they read it. Ours worked good, it was up.
Ours didn't, I was in there when it didn't. I said, this is not okay, we need to fix this stuff right now. So we called the school system and turned the heat on. We had to bring them before they came up and came on, and did fine the rest of the day. But they were really foul that first morning.
I was tickled to death you could blow the screens up. I could see them.
Well, that was one of the things that I heard consistently was the size, that you could actually read it all, and you could see it. So.
Wasn't much difference in the last one, but there was a few.
I will also mention in her budget, she has 2 elections in the next fiscal year. Normally, what I've seen, of course, I haven't done this all year, but it's up one year and then down because there's not two elections, there's only one, but there was an election, two elections this fiscal year, there's two next fiscal year, so you see a decrease in her election workers and cost for the additional election. She put it in there initially and then was like, whoopsies, I forgot we've got two again. Because normally it should be one on and one off, but it just didn't work out that way this time.
Questions on the election commission budget? Okay, last but not least, clerk.
Yeah, this one is very, very simple as well. Just a couple of very, very minor adjustments. His salary was the same as the state salaries. He did do a reclassification between data processing and office supplies, but that zeroed out to basically nothing. The only other increase other than insurance was $100 for data processing supplies because the cost of those items went up. He needed a little more. So this is a very easy budget to do. He does a great job with it.
Questions? Hearing none. Other comments before we adjourn? Questions or anything?
Mr. Chair, I have one, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Because of the absence of the fellow commissioner, it violates the policy and procedures set down by our commission. We advise our chair that a replacement needs to be named since we're in the infancy of budget hearing, where everybody is well represented in the county.
See hot heads nodding, so I assume everybody's in agreement with that. Now we'll talk with Ginger.
The next meeting is the 8th, which is a regular meeting, and there will be some hearing that night. Not a whole lot. I'm trying to keep that amount short for that night since it is a regular meeting. But I was taking it, since we're already here and we shouldn't have a whole lot on that agenda, that we knock a few more out. There will be a few more outside agencies, not a lot. You've heard the majority of them. But we tried to move them throughout as opposed to having them all in one or two nights because that just seemed to be too much, too cumbersome for everyone.
When Mr. Johnson and I were talking a little bit earlier in the meeting, when you look at outside agencies, even though we've already voted not to take any of those funds from unassigned fund balance, as we did last year, as part of the regular budget. We also need to think how we want to rank. Does everybody get the amount that they're asking for? So we're going to have to come to grips with that before we do the add-on of outside agencies. Just want to let y'all keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the outside agencies, but be thinking how you kind of want to rank them and what they've asked for, and are the programs to the point where we fully fund them, or come up with an amount that we subtract from their ask, or do we don't fund them at all? So.
Yep. I mean, I've been writing down notes and stuff so I can remember what's said into that. But I'd like for us to go one by one and then hear all the comments and suggestions. I think that would be good for everybody's feedback.
We're also going to work on a schedule similar to what we did with the outside agencies last year. That will be a summary of what both the agencies and the departments have asked for in the prior year, and then what their ask will be for the current year and what the difference is, just so you can kind of see what that is. So we're at a point now where we can start putting all that together because we've been through quite a few. We still have several, obviously, to go. We tried to spread them out so that you didn't have these, like I said, long 4 to 5 hour meetings. Because after a while, it just becomes inefficient because you're tired, and it all runs together. So it's created a few more meetings, but I think we've been efficient with our time. And it's made it just, it's been a little bit better. We will help you remember some of the details a little bit more.
Good.
The other thing I want to comment in discussion with Brandon, they have not received a lot of information on what their funding will be for this year from the state. I actually did get an email right before I came in here that maybe one of the estimates, because normally you get several estimates, that's slow this year again. So based on that, I don't know when we will have their budget. I have not scheduled them yet for that reason. Because they are, it's just like we will strive to do a zero-based budget, they're doing the same thing. But if they don't know exactly what the revenue is from the state, that's challenging to do. So they've been working diligently on the expense side of it, but they can't really finalize it until we know what the revenue is going to be.
When is 911? Because we have to do this.
Is it the 16th? Yeah, it's not the 8th, so it's probably is the 16th, because I don't think I've really scheduled much beyond that. We were trying to be efficient, but get as much as we could up front. And I was holding those late April dates for the school system. They have to be done by May 1st, or they're supposed to be done by May 1st. Hopefully they'll have all their information by then. So I was kind of holding at least that last April date for them for that reason. Because they usually take up pretty much the majority of the evening at least.
So I know we've put 911 all for a couple of months now. We all agreed that we would hear them at budget hearing.
Yeah.
They've asked for almost a 25% increase, I think, in what they previously, or certainly what we received last year.
Yeah, I think they in the chamber, because the chamber was supposed to come tonight for their additional ask, and that ask is beyond what we give them through the hotel management tax. And they rescheduled for that night, and somebody else did too, but I don't remember right off the top of my head who it was. Red Cross. So, and then as we get other departments finished, we still have a few that are lingering out there that have questions or haven't fully completed yet for one reason or another. So as we get those finished, we've got to schedule those out.
Any other comments?
Think about it every year, the uniform, school system, but it's not global. It's all depends on that. And it seems like they've always got a new program introduced right before budget time and really don't have the answers. The policies have not been written yet, like what we're debating. And just understanding they were asking for additional. The chamber.
Yes, they're gonna have an additional ask beyond the tax. It's for something else. So she's coming to present that.
They did last year.
Yeah.
75,000.
So, well, and two, we have to keep in mind that they, from 3 years ago, I think it was at, I'm gonna go by memory, it's either 117 or 119,000 total receipts from taxation. It has doubled in 3 years. And we don't get an increase. We get a percentage and it's just locked in for, I think, a 5-year contract. And we've got one more year to go up before we can make a small adjustment to hit because of all of the receipts.
Another thing to keep in mind is Parks and Rec. Are we going to do budget for Parks and Rec or not? If we are, who's, I mean.
Yeah, too, because it's still a standing department.
Yeah, is that something you want me to do? I know they met, well, the last time we met, they met as well, but I haven't heard back from any of them as far as what they're doing. I don't think they have a chair, so.
They had, budget items in their minutes. They had earmarked monies. I'm not gonna say because I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, the last month's meeting.
The last month's meeting, they had, earmarked amounts for projects. It was, on the last part of the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you go back and look at that if you want to.
Okay, well, I know Aaron prepared their budget last year, so I'll reach out to him and see where they are in that process, if that's something that they're doing. Or if they're gonna give me that information and I'll plug it into because I know there are several friends groups or other groups that they support that do work at the county parks. So we wanna make sure that those are included.
Other comments, questions?
The finance department, on tonight, we don't have anything else because it's gonna be a long one. Brad?
There are none. Let's adjourn.
Thank you all very much. I told you,